Towns and urban centers are engines of economic development, creating hubs for commerce and creation of opportunities for gainful employment. But what happens to ordinary households when towns which were once thriving become a pale shadow of their former selves? How does this impact their day-to-day lives? In the western part of the country, the collapse of industries and the towns they supported has translated into deepening misery for many, and we sought to explore the real situation. Our journey starts in Malakisi town, which dates back to 1848 and is arguably one of the oldest towns in western Kenya. Strategically located at the border between Bungoma and Busia counties, Malakisi was one of the first industrial towns in the region where a vibrant cotton industry was a source of gainful employment for the residents of Bumula, Sirisia and Teso North constituencies for more than 3 decades. Between 1949 and 1966, farmers in thousands were in the cotton growing business.
Kiwanda hiki kilikuwa na mafuta, kilikuwa kinaunda mafuta hapa kutoka kwa hiyo pamba hiyo. Pamba ndio ilikuwa inasagwa, alafu wanafanyaji wanatoa hiyo mafuta. Alafu kulikuwa na makeki, yani ile nini imeshatolewa ile uchafu. Na hiyo uchafu hiyo ilikuwa inatengelezwa inaenda kuuzwa nje kwa wakulima wa ng'ombe. Ng'ombe ndio ilikuwa inakula hiyo keki. Na sabuni pia ilikuwa inatengelezwa hapa. Watu walikuwa wanafaidika kutoka kwa sabuni hii. Ilikuwa inawasaidia sana. Kwa maana walikuwa wananunulia hapa karibu, na hii sabuni nyingine ilikuwa ikienda nje Uganda, Tanzania.
Today the town of Malakisi is a pale shadow of its former self, with fortunes having dwindled. Haman Kasili of the Kenya Chamber of Commerce, Western Kenya, attributes this to years of unfavorable policy.
Na hapa Bungoma kuinua uchumi wa watu wa Malakisi ni waanze kufanya ukulima tena wa pamba, ni lazima waanzishe factory ya ginnery katika Malakisi na Malakisi itaamka tena.
Farmers acquired the assets of the cotton ginnery, and the government seconded managers to the Malaba Malakisi Cooperative Cotton Ginnery. 4 years later, the ginnery collapsed and closed operations in the early 2000s. About 50 kilometers away from what remains of Malakisi stands another ghostly town that once throbbed with life. Webuye used to be an industrial town thanks to state-owned Webuye paper mills. The mills collapsed under huge debt, and with it the fortunes of the town that depended on it. Today, what remains of Webuye are little houses with crumbling white paint. The metal grills on their windows have since been pried off by vandals and sold for as long as scrap metal. Many commercial buildings that had sprouted up to house the hundreds of employees now stand silent and vacant.
Pan Paper imekuwa ni kama ni ndoto, kwa sababu tumedanganywa na viongozi wetu kwamba Pan Paper inafunguliwa.
Sijaona karatasi ikipitishwa, kwa sababu zamani karatasi zilikuwa zinapitishwa kwa matrela hapa Marola zikipita hapa. Na siku hizi hata nikikaa kwa hii barabara siona karatasi ikipita. Sasa sijui inapitishwa wapi.
Hata biashara sisi iko chini, maana maziwa tunaenda kwa manyumba zenye zilikuwa za Pan Paper, hakuna watu hapa ndani, watu washahama. Wengine ni matatizo tu, hata mtu hana vile anaweza saidia ndio anunue hiyo maziwa.
The story is similar for Chebkube town in Mount Elgon, a kilometer away from the Kenya-Uganda border. In its heyday, Chebkube thrived out of the then lucrative coffee trade, particularly during the coffee boom, which lasted between 1976 to 1979. With the reversed fortunes for the coffee sector, however, the town's business activity has dwindled significantly. Many business people who had pitched tent at the border town transferred their businesses to Bungoma, Malaba, Kimilili, Kitale, Eldoret, and Nairobi.
Hii kahawa kama wanaweza kuwa county government inaweza kuencourage watu wakatengeneze kahawa kabisa, itakuwa ni vizuri sana. Watu ya Chebukube walikufa miaka hiyo, wakati sasa watu wanatafuta black gold, na black gold ni ile kahawa. Lakini ukitaka kuamsha Chebukube tena ianze kufanya kazi mzuri, ni lazima turudi upande wa kahawa, na kahawa nzuri inaitwa Arabica.
In the 1980s and early 1990s, Butere bustled with business as trips by the Lunatic Express between the town and Kisumu kept commerce vibrant. In the late 2007, however, the train started cutting down daily trips between Butere and Kisumu to 3 trips in a week, on Tuesday, Thursday and Sunday. Born and raised in Butere, Job Afuma believes that the train carried away the spirit of the once lively town.
Papo hapa station ya Butere tulikuwa na hoteli kubwa sana iliyokuwa inamiliki na ilisha watu wengi sana. Sasa wasai hao wenye walikuwa wanajiri wapo hawana kazi. Kuna wale vijana walikuwa wanasaidia hapo kufieka, kufanya usafi, whatever, na walikuwa wanapata posho yao ya kila siku. Hawapo na hawana kazi tena. Gari kama inaweza kuwa itenge pesa iweze kufua hii reli ya Butere, babo jina la Butere iweze kufanya nini? Kuwa juu. Ilikuwa inaendelea kusaidia hapo awali. Serikali kuu pamoja na county iweze kushirikiana, reli Butere iambuke na Mumias Sugar iweze kufanya hivyo, ndio vijana wetu wapate kazi wala mkate wa kila siku.
Tulikuwa tunapata hela zetu katika kupitia kwa railway ya Butere. Hii railway ikisimama ama ikianza, uchumi yetu itakuwa sawa.
The fact that the town's economy depended heavily on sugarcane has only made matters worse. The near collapse of the sugarcane economy in the larger western region has aggravated the situation. The sugar subsector is a source of income for an estimated 400,000 small-scale farmers who supply over 90% of the milled cane. Plans by the government to lease 5 state-owned sugar mills have run into headwinds in the courts of justice, and with uncertainty of resuscitating the sector, those who depended on the sector for their bread and butter are left between a rock and a hard place.
5 state farms in the same state as Chemil, they are not doing well. They are not able to pay farmers. They are not able to pay salaries for workers. If you go around the sugar growing area, you'll find even the estate farming that used to take place is no longer happening. So there is serious poverty and disaffection among sugarcane farmers, and they have been asking government to find solutions for them. Mills have been bottomless pits, government sinking in money there and nobody benefiting. If you consider now, for example, in this leasing exercise, we are writing off 62 billion taxpayers' money. Because some people say it's statutory debt, but it's taxpayers' money. Somebody who was running a mill who should have paid tax to roll that tax into supporting the economy and supporting Kenyans did not do so. So we don't want to continue sinking money in an investment that is clearly not doing well. Government is not known to be very good in managing businesses. What is required is there is serious investment to turn that place around.
In its 2016 report, the World Bank argued that whereas Kenya is urbanizing rapidly, the country is still largely under-urbanized, meaning that it is still far from fully harnessing the benefits of urbanization. With towns such as Malakisi, Webuye, Chebukube and Butere punching below their previous industrial weights, Kenya's under-urbanization challenge is only bound to get worse in the coming years. Judith Cherono, NTV, Nairobi.